Okay, so what I have is I have these wires, okay? These are, I believe, I want to say, so these are 14s. You don't really need anything this heavy. It just happens to be what I have. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the wire, I'm cutting it into lengths, I strip off one end, and then I'm going to take, because it's stranded, I can take part of this and we can twist this together, and then I'm going to cut off the strands that aren't used, like that. And then we just twist all this together, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tin these. I'm going to put solder over that joint, and then this will come up through the layout and solder to the tracks. That's the way I've done all mine. Okay, so all my feeders have been prepared and properly tinned and soldered on. So now what we're going to do is we're going to drill the holes. So I need 2 red and 2 white. But I got to make sure I coincide with the existing stuff underneath here, so I got to look underneath. But red and a white, and a red and a white. And then we're going to drill. Okay, so the new track starts here. This is the new stuff we just added and goes from here out and right here. The feeders that are existing are in here. So I'm going to put these feeders back here. Okay, about an inch back from the roadway. So I'm just going to drill a hole on each side of the track right here. Okay, so those holes are drilled. Now I just need to look underneath and see which rail gets red, which one gets white. Okay, so red goes to this side. So now you can kind of see how this is going. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull this back up. Okay, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the end of this and I'm going to pinch it hard to flatten it out like that. See, now we have a flat end, and then I'm going to bend it like that. Okay, so we have that T shape in there, and I'm going to do that for all of them. And then what we're going to do is fit this down in here like this, and then we're just going to push that right into the rail like this, and that'll solder right there just like that, just in there like that. We're going to do the same with all of these. Okay, and those will go like that. Okay, and that will power, because I'm gonna isolate it. I'm gonna cut it across right here and right here, and that'll isolate this section from this section back here. So now this is on its own power. So next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna drop some feeders. Now, these are going to be longer ones. They're going to go on the bridge itself, which is going to power the whole rail across the whole drop bridge. And we're going to drop those down, and we're going to bring those backwards. So the power to the front rails here, the power to these rails is going to go from underneath and come back up and hook with these rails. And then the whole thing will be controlled by this little switch. So we're going to put this as a break in the line. Alright, so I've gone and soldered all of the solder joints. So all the feeders are soldered to the rails here, and I've kind of filed them down a little bit on the top so that the train will roll over them nicely. So what I've done is I've taken a car and I'm just rolling it over them, and it rolls pretty good. So next point now is to go underneath and start hooking up all these connections underneath to the switches and into track power. Actually, before I do that, I think I'm gonna isolate the dead spots of track down here. I'm gonna take the Dremel and I'm gonna cut across here and here, and then again on the other side, and that's gonna isolate so that this section is a dead track, and then the dead track on the other side of the bridge when it goes down. Alright, so now I've cut the tracks. They're cut right here and right here. I cut right down into the road bed. And then we also cut it, so I cut it just past where the new tracks are. So my original set of feeders is here for this, so I cut it here and here. So now this section is isolated and this section are both isolated from the rest of the layout. And then we have feeders here to power these sections, but those will hook into the switches, and hopefully this all works. Okay, so here we are underneath. Let me just turn this a little bit. Alright, so what we have is we have the two sets of feeders from each track, right here and right here. We have two switches, right here and right here. And then we're going to hook into the other. This is the actual main bus line right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to hook, we're going to go white to white right here, and then from the other line we're going to go white to white here. And then we're going to take each red, we're going to go from here to a red line, and then from here to the red on there. And then the same on this one. Okay, so I made the connections for one of the tracks now. So what I've done, let's see, how well can you see? Is I've taken from this switch right here, and I have two yellow wires that come off. Doesn't matter which one goes where. So I took the two red ones and I hooked them into the main power bus. That's for both tracks. Then I took one white one which goes to this one track, and I hooked it to one side of the switch. And then I took the other side of the switch and I hooked it into the white wire on the track power. Okay? And when I go to test it, what we end up with from above now, there's the two tracks. Okay? So what we've done is I've now put power to this track, which is the one I showed you underneath. So the switch underneath, remember when we originally set in the switches, there's two switches and one goes to each track. So I always remember that I need to hook in both because it counts for the alignments here. So when I take my tester here, and I run it, so the switch is in, it's all the way pushed in, so we have power to this track, and you can see the voltmeter going, or not going. There we go. So you can see the voltmeter going right there, and we have full power, and that matches the track on the other side of the cut that I made. See, when you look at it over there. So we have full power here. Now if I pull the latch, alright, and we go hit this track's now dead. Alright, that's what we want. And then this track is dead because we haven't hooked anything up to it yet. So there we go. So this track is dead now. So now I got to hook up this second track, and then this from here back all the way around is done. The latches, the electrical, all that from here, that way is done. Okay, so what I have is these are the feeders that come out from the bridge itself, and then they come down, both sides are all tied together. So I got one lead that comes out feeding both of those two tracks. Then we come over to this side, and the red side are all tied together here, along with the section of dead track up here. Okay, and then the white section, the white pieces, I've got one side of the switch comes in and ties with all the white pieces of track, and then the other side of the white of the switch goes to the white wire, which hooks into my track bus wire. So it's really pretty simple. It's just tying all the tracks together and then breaking the circuit with the switch on the white side is all I did. It's not really difficult. It's pretty easy. So the next thing to do is to maybe we can throw a train on there and see if we can get it to drive over the bridge here. See if we can get this all working. So let me put up the bridge. Okay, so now we've got full power, and let's get a locomotive and see if we can get it to run over the bridge. My tracks are very dirty at the moment. And there we go. And we'll back this up. Oh, good grief, my stuff needs to be cleaned. And there we go over the bridge on that track. And then we'll pull it back, and then and then if we drop the bridge, so now we'll drop this bridge, and then this train should not be able to go through. And there it is, dead spot. And no matter what I do, it's not going to go anywhere. See? That's what we need. And that's it. Alright, so we're going to call that done for this video here. Everything works. We're all good. There's no more wiring to do. So the next thing to do on the next video, and then this series is going to be pretty well done, is we're going to put the epoxy into the water. We're going to fill this and this up here, and we'll finish off the waterfall here. I built this. I don't think I talked about it. I said I was going to. The little pier, and I have figures that are going to go on here. Those will get added in after I put the water in. And actually I'm going to wait till the water's in. I'm going to put swimming figures into the epoxy so they're in the water. But this I scratch built. It's just leftover scrap pieces of basswood that I had. And then I painted it and weathered it. So I guess the next step is going to be to paint the track before I put the water in. We have to paint all of this. Then the water and this basic scenery stuff, which I'm not going to do. So yeah, thanks for watching, and hope you watch the others, and we'll see you next video. Thanks, bye.